Everybody please rise for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, if you please remain standing and choose, if you choose to, please join me for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Just a moment of silence for Mr. Rembrandt Wright, who was an integral part of the senior levy transportation. Wonderful businessman here in Trumbull County, and even person. So, bow your heads. Okay, our next public workshop will be next Tuesday, April 2nd, 10:30 a.m. Our next regular meeting will be Wednesday, April 3rd, also 10:30 a.m. In this room. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco. Here. Mr. Malloy.
Here.
Item number 1 is to dispense with reading the minutes of the workshop session dated March 19th, 2024, and the regular meeting dated March 20th, 2024, and accept and approve the video recordings of both meetings as the official meeting minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Because I believe they're done incorrectly, and until the court rules that this is acceptable, no.
Item number 2 is to approve the bills.
Make a motion to approve. Second the motion.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 3 is to transfer monies.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 4 is to approve additional appropriations.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 5 is to transfer appropriations.
Motion to approve. Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 6 is to receive the amended certificate of the County Budget Commission number 2-2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
And then just a bit of discussion. I just want to say that there have been significant changes to how these are coming over to be put on our agenda. Everything has an explanation. And I just wanted to thank the auditor, Chrissy, who is doing this, because I haven't, just to be able to go through everything, review it, and see everything here is great. So thank you.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 7 is to adopt a resolution approving the list provided within backup labeled as then and now, February 2024 - commissioners of purchase orders to the various vendors as then and now purchase orders in compliance with ORC 5705.41D.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 8 is to adopt a resolution proclaiming the month of April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Trumbull County, Ohio, in conjunction with National Child Abuse Prevention Month. April marks the anniversary of National Child Abuse Prevention Month and the 19th annual Pinwheels for Prevention event. And that is to promote community cooperation. Children's Services will hold their annual Pinwheels for Prevention on Monday, April 3rd, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. by displaying 1,166 pinwheels at City Hall in Warren.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 9 is to receive and record on the journal for record purposes, the public official bond number 669-23393 for Marilyn Pape as Executive Director of Trumbull County Children's Services commencing on February 9th, 2024. The bond is in the amount of $100,000, shall be filed with the Trumbull County Probate Court in accordance with ORC.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 10 is to receive and record on the journal for record purposes, the public official bond number 669-23229 for Marilyn Pape as Executive Director of Trumbull County Children's Services. The bond given in favor of the Trumbull County Probate Court is in the amount of $5,000 commencing on February 9th, 2024. And the bond shall be filed with Trumbull County Probate Court in accordance with ORC.
Motion to approve. I'll second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Clerk, we're gonna read the resolution from number 8. We adopted the resolution. We never read it.
That's presented to them at the event.
Okay.
Item number 11 is to concur with the Trumbull County Engineer to grant the special hauling permit to haul steel coils requested by the company listed, and that's J-Row Transportation Services, Inc.
Motion to approve. Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 12 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the special annual supplier fleet permits for fleet vehicles requested by the companies listed. And those companies are James E. Mateko, Inc., Faust Leasing, Inc., Jeswald Auto Truck Service, Lipo Rents, and the Arms Trucking Company.
Motion to approve. Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 13 is to award all bids submitted for the purchase of asphalt concrete and asphalt emulsion CMS-2S for use by the Trumbull County Engineer for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, and to enter into a contract with each company listed for all materials which the companies bid.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 14 is to award all bids submitted for the purchase of bituminous materials for use by the Trumbull County Engineer for the period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2025, and to enter into a contract with each company listed for all materials which the companies bid.
I think we should say the names of the companies. If you're using if you're going to use the reporting as the official record, I think you should be reading these.
Okay, so for bituminous materials, that would be Russell Standard Corporation and Suit Coat Corporation. And to go back to asphalt concrete, that would be Tri-County Asphalt Materials, Marzane Inc., and Stoneco Inc., doing business as Allied Corp.
Thank you.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 15 is to award the lowest responsive and responsible bid as submitted by Frank Martuccio Asphalt and Paving, Inc. for the year 2024 road rehabilitation program consisting of the rehabilitation and surface treatment of Stroop Hickox Road from Geauga Portage Easterly Road to Hazelcraft Road and Hoffman Norton Road from Geauga Portage Easterly Road to the Farmington No. 12 Bridge north of Hazelcraft Road in Farmington Township in the amount of $350,850.79 and to enter into a contract for said project.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 16 is to acknowledge the receipt of the proposal for the TRU Kinsman Sidewalks Phase 4 project and to authorize the Board of Commissioners clerk to advertise for sealed bids for the TRU Kinsman Sidewalks Phase 4 project.
I wanted to correct the agenda. This has already been approved by the prosecutor's office, so it, since they sent that over, I just wanted to let everyone know that that's already been approved. Probably should not be.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 17 is to approve modification number 2 with Prime AE Group for the Yankee Lake Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project number 5-S-18 located in Brookfield Township and the Village of Yankee Lake. Modification is for a reduction of $167,667.82, reducing the total amount to $318,064.18.
A motion to approve. Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 18 is to adopt a resolution authorizing Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to apply for, accept, and enter into a water pollution control loan fund agreement on behalf of the County of Trumbull for planning, design, and/or construction of the Meadowbrook Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project number 29-S-97.
Motion to approve. Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 19 is to authorize the retention of the listed law firms to represent the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners in a class action lawsuit regarding per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances in drinking water, and to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute a legal services agreement on behalf of Trumbull County. And those companies are Brennan, Manna, and Diamond, Barron and Bud PC, Kosich, Sumich, Parciola, and Taylor LLC, McNamee and McNamee LLP, Oths, Heiser, Miller, Wegland, and Clegg LLC.
A motion to approve. Second.
To see if someone can come up and explain this a little bit more, because I think that we should hear more about this.
Gary Newbrow, Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer. Commissioners, we briefed you on this during the executive session a few weeks ago. As mentioned in my note here, PFAS is a contaminant in drinking water, and it is a result of industrial chemical processes, mostly from nonstick cookware, certain types of raincoats, certain types of tarps, that sort of thing. And it's a forever chemical. And so the US EPA realized that this could be a danger to the safety and the health of the public. And they started regulating this a few years ago. They're still drafting the final rules on it as to the proper testing methods to detect it, what the allowable limits of it are, and drinking water industry, we're pretty much awaiting their final word on how much testing is going to be required for it. How do we remediate it? How do we get rid of it? But in the meantime, there is a class action lawsuit. Well, there's probably many of them going on throughout the nation, but this one was brought to our attention by some of the other water providers in Northeast Ohio. And it is going to cost water purveyors additional funds in order to deal with this chemical. And it's a class action lawsuit to have those people who were the source of this contaminant pay for it.
Very good.
Who are the other entities or water providers in northeastern Ohio who are participating in this?
I know MVSD is one of them. And they're the ones that talked to our legal counsel and advised that we get be part of this class action lawsuit. But there are others. I don't have the list in front of me, but I know.
Legal counsel, are you talking about the prosecutor's office?
I'm talking about the sanitary attorney, Matt Blair.
And I do see that there's a waiver of conflicts of interest. And can you speak to that? Because I'm a little concerned about that.
Specifically, what are your concerns there, Commissioner?
Presentation, client has conferred its own separate corporate or municipal counsel and has determined that it's in its own best interest to waive any and all potential or actual conflicts of interest, which a client is currently aware of as a result of the attorney's current and continuing representation of other entities in similar litigation. And with his connection to MVSD, I just want to make sure that we're not doing something that's. He was approached, okay, your staff attorney used to work for MVSD, and he was approached on joining where there's a potential conflict of interest. And so I'm looking at this and it's just raising some red flags for me, that's all. Though I understand that the intention of the lawsuit sounds noble, I'm just a little concerned with that. So can you speak to the conflict of interest and the parties and?
Well, I did send this over to the prosecutor's office and they signed off on it too, so they're fine with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good, Gary. Go Hart. Can you adjust the podium back to where it needs to be for the camera?
All right. I didn't know why it was pointed out.
Yeah. It seems like it's up and over from normal. It's gonna be off screen.
Okay, so the vote for 19, Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
I have a great deal of pause as it relates to the conflict of interest and the relationship with the staff attorney who's Matt Blair, who used to work with MVSD.
Same team as MVSD in this.
Us being approached, I just have a little pause about the conflict that's even spelled out in the contract, so I'm just going to abstain for that reason. It's just concerning. I don't have enough information relative to how that could impact the county.
Item number 20 is to approve a supplemental agreement to the service area agreement for water supply services for the Bezetta and Champion Public Water System executed on April 19th, 2009 between Trumbull County and the city of Warren. This supplement is necessary to expand the boundaries of the Bezetta/Champion Public Water System while maintaining the not to exceed capacity of 3 million gallons per day allocated by the city to the county.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 21 is to approve modification number 1 to the engineering agreement with Burgess and Nyepel, Inc. for the State Road Water Regionalization Project, known as County Project number 2-W-23, located in Champion and Southington Townships.
Motion. I'm sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
Modification is for an additional $414,990, revising the total contract amount to $762,860 and includes services associated with construction, administration, and inspection, project closeout, submittal of as-built drawings, and additional work associated with design and environmental permits.
Motion to approve. Second.
I'd like to have a bit of discussion about this one. I'm very grateful that since I've started, I notice an effort for the prosecutor's opinions to be obtained before they come to us, so that we know that what we're voting on is right. On this particular item, this is the only one I believe that came in from
This is burning me up here.
Um, sorry. On this particular item, there was not a prosecutor's opinion about this. So I have some questions because I know that there was no meeting yesterday, so no one got to meet to discuss this, but I reviewed things and this looks like it's, it's obviously doubling the amount of the services associated with construction. Can he come up and explain a little bit about this? The primary question I have is, was the work already completed? Is this a modification after the fact of work that's already been done?
Commissioner, this is Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. On this contract, we awarded them the design contract. We used ARP funds to fund it. And I requested $350,000 from you. We used that to hire Burgess and Nyepel for the design. This only takes us up as far as the bidding of the project. Now, we used that $350,000. They did an outstanding job. We were under a tight timeline. In order for us to get to $2.6 million of principal forgiveness, we had to have that PTI application submitted in January. We have the PTI now. And we have to award a contract by the beginning of May to still receive that 2.6 million of principal forgiveness. So this was a Herculean task that they performed here to get this design done and get it approved as quick as they did in order for us to, we turned that $350,000 of ARP into an additional 2.6 million is what they did here with that money. Now it comes time to move to construction.
Done.
No, this is for the construction administration and inspection.
So they've only completed
The engineer.
$350,000 worth of work. They have not done more than that amount of work.
There was one item where we added an extra loop on Alva Avenue and Center Street, maybe 5% of the entire scope of the project, where we decided after the design started that we wanted to add that loop to the project. So they did add that in, and we are going to go, and that's what I'm requesting now, that we make that up now with this.
So
Also give them a little bit extra for that. I think that's a very small amount.
So that extra loop would double the cost?
No,
Or this is
no.
the administration of.
This is
after the
construction administration and inspection. You have to remember, we have a pump station in here too. And that takes extra,
Administration.
yeah, and inspection more than an extension project. And our total project cost is around 5.2 million. And general rule of thumb is you want to spend about 15% of that on engineering. So they're right around that 15% mark for total cost for the engineering for the project.
So the cost of the project did not go up from the original amounts, except for the Alva Street loop, but the total amount that they're requesting is doubling?
No. The design cost for this was about $350,000, which they already performed. Now this is for the construction administration of the entire project. This is normal that we only award the design projects if we don't have the other funds available for the construction administration and inspection. And in this case, we had to get the note from the auditor's office to be able to cover this extra money, because we only had 350,000 of ARP to cover the design portion of the project.
Is this? Here's the thing. This is the only item that you submitted this week that, wait, is it? That didn't have the prosecutor's opinion with it. And this is the most interesting one as far as it relates to doubling in cost and being paid for things that were done already that weren't in the original scope. So I'm a little concerned with why you didn't request a prosecutor's opinion on this one when all of the rest of them that you did.
I'd have to look into it, but, I know, when I sent it in, did I copy, the prosecutor's office when I sent it in?
Yes, you did.
Okay, then I probably did already get an approval for it.
I don't.
But I'll have to look that up and find out. In either event, if they have a problem with it, we can come back and modify it next week.
My preference would be to table this, get the opinion and then vote on it because that's how things should be done and everything else. And I'm grateful that you're making some strides to change how you're doing things. But on this particular item, you didn't. And I would prefer to have the prosecutor's office look at it. Their turnaround time was extremely quick on the other items because you even thanked them. I read your email thread where you said, thank you for such a quick response and approval. So on this one being the most interesting, I think that it would be appropriate to get that opinion and put it on next week.
All right, this is a standard way that we have been doing these engineering projects in the past. Never had a problem with the prosecutor's office approving it, and I recommend that we approve it today.
We're going to be changing things within the system as well, where you're going to have to upload them with the prosecutor's opinion, or it's going to be kicked back out. So for consistency and knowing that that's the pattern that we're moving into, I would like to ask that you provide that before this gets voted on.
And I probably have it, but I can't say that for sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. If they, Bill, did you guys already look at this one?
Honestly, I don't recall on this one specifically. There's been a lot coming.
Yes.
This one didn't have anything. Okay.
In either event, Bill, it's a standard modification to an engineering agreement.
This process is absolutely a process.
Yes.
But the fact that the work was done, that's the thing that.
No work was done.
Change.
Like,
You're confusing the engineering with the
No,
other.
no, I'm not confusing it. I'm talking about that small.
Bill,
small
Bill,
line.
you need to come up here if you're gonna talk.
I'm gonna try to make myself as clear as I can.
Okay,
First of all, we're not gonna get into the habit of giving on the spot answers to legal questions that come up in the meeting. Absolutely not gonna happen. I work with Gary and his staff regularly on these. Again, this is an absolutely routine portion of the process where we approve the construction drawings and then a change order comes in or a modification comes in for the construction administration. The fact that this loop, I don't have enough information. I don't have the documents with me. I don't recall if this is one that we've already looked at or not. But that is not something I can answer on the spot here. That being said, I can confirm what Gary's saying. This is absolutely a routine procedure for the design and then the construction administration.
right, but and I'm hoping we're getting out of this. Where there's been almost $1 million in change orders that were been sitting there for 9 months that have already been completed and approved and by the department without coming to the commissioner's office. So I'm trying to make sure that we follow in that and stop that practice and start doing things in advance. And my preference is that you start doing that.
Well,
getting the
and I
opinion
just want to be
before-
clear
yeah.
too, that I also understand what you guys have asked for to some degree of having virtually every agenda item be processed through the prosecutor's office first. And I think that's part of what you're suggesting with the new implementation of this portal. I've got no objection to the portal. I think it's a fantastic idea, but I will say that we are going to have a serious discussion about the ability of our office to process before you guys get it, every agenda item that involves, any expenditure of funds or anything like that. Generally, the way we've done this and the way we've done it successfully for many years is that we do review contracts when the department heads bring them through. Gary and I have done this for many years in that respect. We have with the highway engineer for many years. But when it comes to certain routine items on particularly form contracts that have been reviewed previously, a lot of times those generally have been pushed through subject to our approval afterwards. So things aren't as black and white as push everything through the prosecutor's office beforehand. I just want to be clear on that. We're here to help. We're here to do everything we can to provide good advice to our clients, but we have to also kind of understand how the process works with having a limited number of attorneys for the entire county. That's all.
And if that's been in the past, you could say, this is routine and just something short to say that.
Sure, and we've done that, yeah.
But at the same time, you give someone an inch and then they take miles and miles. So.
Well, that's not been my
I'm
experience,
sorry.
but
Well, it has since I've been here,
Okay.
to say, we've already looked at this or we've done this
Sure.
way for years and years and it's okay. And then we're $800,000 in change orders or whatever, dozens of them that are this thick that have already been approved, which is a contract modification.
Mhm.
We're the ones that have to do that, but he
Sure.
says that this is how it's always been done. I'm hoping that with this process, you'll be able to help guide our department heads and those who,
and we
Okay.
always do, and we
Thank
always
you.
have tried.
okay,
So,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm okay with it as it sits here.
As am I.
Okay.
Okay, so the vote for item 21, Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
I want to qualify this. I'm voting yes, but I want to say, moving forward, the only concern I have is with the work that was already done. You cannot do that anymore, Gary. Do not do that. So you get the modification if there's going to be extra work from the Board of Commissioners. You put that on as soon as it comes up, like, hey, we want to modify the drawing or we want to add an extra something, you put that on then. So please start doing it properly. Thank you.
Item number 22 is to adopt an improvement resolution determining to proceed with the construction of the State Road Water Regionalization Project, known as County Project Number 2-W-23 for Trumbull County's Combined Sanitary Sewer District in Champion and Southington Townships, and to authorize the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners Clerk to advertise for sealed bids for construction of said project.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 23 is to adopt an improvement resolution determining to proceed with the construction of the Elm Road Water Improvements Project, known as County Project Number 2-W-16 for Trumbull County's Combined Sanitary Sewer District in Bezetta Township, and to authorize the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners Clerk to advertise for sealed bids for construction of said project.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 24 is to adopt a resolution authorizing expenditure for responding to or mitigating the public health emergency from American Rescue Plan Act funds. This is for the Village of McDonald, Marks radios and equipment.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
And just a note on that, the amount on that was $100,000, 465.
Item 25 is to enter into an agreement between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and the Village of McDonald as approved by ARPA Legal Counsel for the village to provide funds required to enable the village to purchase Marks radios and necessary equipment for use by the Village of McDonald Fire Department, which is essential to continue the provision of safety services, especially with the increase of the volume of calls since the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners allocates the sum of $100,465 to the village.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 26 is to reappoint the individuals listed as members of the Workforce Development Board of Trumbull County for additional 3-year terms. And those people are Ms. Lindsay Gray, Mr. Mark Ragazine, Ms. Laura Carey, Dr. William Ayers, Mr. Michael Hanshaw, Mr. Rich Tice, Mr. Pete Kafalis, Mr. Dan Vaudinell, and Mr. William Moore.
A little more continued on the back there.
No.
Oh, okay, that's new. Okay. Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 27 is to appoint the individuals listed as members of the Workforce Development Board of Trumbull County for 3-year terms. And those persons are Mr. Randy Swager, Mr. Daniel Ross, Mr. Patrick Kerrigan, Ms. Felicia Davis, and Ms. Elisa Hosey.
Motion to approve. Second those.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 28 is to approve the personnel action for the employment of Ms. Stephanie Feist to the position of Deputy Dog Warden, pay range 4 at $15.64 per hour with the Trumbull County Dog Kennel effective no earlier than Monday, April 1st, 2024.
Motion to approve. Second that.
Discussion, I normally would get, no, actually, the first thing is it says no earlier than, and we typically put the date that someone's starting. That's never come before us in this fashion. And I know that Bill Danzo said he doesn't want to get in the habit of answering questions on the spot, but I've never seen this, and I just wanted to find out if this was approved. And secondly, I review the applicants and the ranking, and alls I have was in my packet that I reviewed for everything on the agenda was the actual verbiage here, and to put this on the agenda without having a ranking or number of applicants or anything.
It was all included in your packet, I have it right here.
No, I have my packet here and it's not, so.
It's right here. It was all
Oh.
included.
No, if you want to give it to me now, that's great, but I prefer to have it
was
ahead of.
attached.
No,
Go back and look.
it's not. I went through my.
Clerk, was this packet not attached with everything?
It was sent, yeah, it was.
Thank
sent-
you.
But she didn't put it in my packet.
That's not my problem. I did my job,
Okay.
and it was also provided to you via email, Commissioner.
'Cause I reviewed-
Commissioners, did the rest of you get it?
Yes.
Thank you.
By email.
Thank you.
Is that my packet? Are you going to give it to me to review? Can I have that, please?
That's her package. Let's vote on it. Yep. Call the vote.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
You know, I just want to say that was incredibly disrespectful and.
To her, from you. Yes.
Seriously.
Nice help.
What,
Yep.
what I'm saying is I have on numerous occasions asked for some people don't start doing things correctly sometimes unless they get written up or a verbal warning. And I've had regular problems with our office staff not providing things in my packet. I would like to have those, but obviously everyone's allowed to do what they want and they're not necessarily required to put things together as I ask. And I would like to have those things. And I would like you as an HR director to make sure that our staff puts things together in the packet so that when I'm reviewing, I can see things. I don't go through
But
hundreds of emails.
just for the record, it was sent by email.
Yes, I'm going to respond with that again. Commissioner, it was sent to you. What more would you like? It delivered with a bow on it? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Dude, is just.
So is
piss
yours.
poor.
Piss poor?
Yes, it is.
That's professional.
Yeah, and so, wait for it.
Please don't point at me.
I am.
Please don't point at me.
Okay, let me ask you,
Let's move
let's go here for a moment. Have you
No,
had
let's
staff
move
work
on.
on your car since you were a child?
Absolutely not.
Did you have
What are
any?
you
work on your
talking about? We're
car?
gonna move on,
Disgusting.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring up
That's
past.
disgusting.
I'll go get the folder. You wanna bring up the past?
Disgusting.
We'll rehash past.
Al
Let's do that.
DeCenzi, your father, the reason. that
Okay,
you
let's
got
move on.
pulled up when you were not qualified is
Move on.
has caused.
Move on.
employees to
I
work
need
on
her
your
vote.
vehicles.
I need her vote
since
for
you- yeah,
28.
No, it's true.
Absolutely not. Commissioner, I lived in Columbus for 7 years. Please.
You
Okay,
did do
we're
that.
moving
No.
on your vote, Commissioner.
I've had staff complaining about. how-
Let's talk about, you want to talk about that stuff? You better watch where you're going. You better watch.
It's a Hobbs Act,
Better watch.
federal Hobbs Act violation.
I need your vote
Nick.
for item 28. Commissioner Frenchco.
No, because I didn't get it in my packets to review.
Mhm.
We
You
have.
had it,
No.
yeah, you-
Hang on, I'm
you-
going
No.
to say that we have 30 items here. They filter in over the course of weeks. And I expect, as I have since I have been getting my files and
Well, since
that-
you've
that
done
they are
nothing
included.
but complain about what I've provided you every single week since August, maybe you won't get it anymore. And you can just look virtually from now on. It doesn't matter what I give you.
that is what I have been dealing with here. I know that you're angry that you didn't get.
All right, let's
paid
move on to
like everyone else did.
29, please. Item number 29.
Item number 29 is to approve and execute the memorandum of understanding with AFSCME Local 2493 to reclassify 4 position pay ranges at the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. The changes are at no cost to the county or general fund. By eliminating and combining one position and implementing said pay range reclassifications to sanitary department will save $13,997.50 in employee payroll associated costs.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
You know, this is another one where this is all I received was what is here. I did not receive anything else. And when something comes on the agenda to change the salary of an employee, those employees need to have that journalized.
Commissioner, guess what I did yesterday? I read that. I called Gary. I talked to him on the phone for about an hour and a half, went over every line on this. You could have done the same. Why wait until today and say, I don't have it? No one spoon fed it to me. Where is it? He's right there. He's worked all week long. You could have talked to him any day this week, just like I did.
I don't think.
It's called working.
I don't think you understand that when things are changing people's pay or they're hired or they're terminated or there's a job reclassification, it is journalized on our agenda because that whenever it is audited, that is how you can see who's getting the change to their pay. Just like when our office ladies, one of them actually wanted to have a pay increase and they added 20% onto her work and then they bumped her pay up and then they took those duties off of her after that happened. Sometimes those things are used in Trumbull County for favors. I've seen it with my own eyes because as soon as they get that within a few months, they take those duties away from them. I believe, and this is even in that case, the employee's name was on here. There is no employee's name. So there are how many employees getting pay increases without it being journalized, period. And it needs to be on our agenda. That is probably a problem. I don't know if HR didn't send it over correctly, if it went through them, but we do need to make sure that the employees who are having pay raises are listed on our agenda. Because it's not transparent. And I don't think it's proper to do so without having it journalized. People can only get paid based on what the journals say. When they're hired, it has their dollar amount. When they get a change, it's in here as well. And so there is no additional information on that. And I'm sorry, I don't want to just talk. We should be provided these things with our packet. This should not have come over. Our clerk should have rejected this item because it didn't have the supporting documentation. If this is all. Okay, so I don't know, I think it's.
I don't know why we need names.
It should be on it should be journalized that way. It's been this. So who is printing these off? Who's printing and putting together my packet? I know that I've been told before that it wasn't the clerk, that it was someone else back there. Why are they just not putting certain things in?
Was it sent by email?
That's neither here nor there. I go over everything together. This is my administrative staff. Just because I'm a woman does not mean that I am not allowed to have administrative.
Oh,
staff.
I get it emailed to me, Commissioner.
I understand that you guys don't go over everything in paper or in writing or review everything as.
No, we can print it.
Yeah,
You just print it out.
no,
You just hit print. I'm serious.
This disparity needs to stop and I expect. to
What
have that
disparity?
right.
We all got it Why? 'Cause equally you on have our to hit email. print? We're all adults. We can all hit print if we
Not-
need to print
I
it.
am the only person who gets a copy of everything.
Because you're the only one that demands it.
It's a waste of resources,
Right.
first of all.
I review
Open your
it.
email and read it from
I-
there.
It's,
This isn't the Stone Ages where people have to print everything out for you.
our agenda is not put together until the day before the meeting. So we don't get our agenda until the day before the meeting with numbers and to be able to look and review the information that corresponds to the agenda item.
Right, that's when we have our workshop typically.
You didn't have to.
But we
workshop.
do typically
Would've been
have
there
it. And
anyway.
if you don't have it, you call the department heads or email them questions. They
That's
will
not
get
it.
back to
This-
you.
this
That's not
is
it. That's
stand-
exactly it.
standing-
That's how it has to happen.
Standing instructions are to print these off.
Standard instructions by whom?
By
The majority
me,
of the
from-
board or you?
Me, everyone does things differently.
Special privileges for one commissioner.
To have staff actually do administrative work.
It's
is not a-
preferential treatment.
No one has a problem with emailing it to them. No one.
But this is ridiculous. To go over all of these things,
It's so hard. This job is so hard.
Ugh.
Come on.
It's tough.
I mean, it's
Tough
it's
work
very
getting print.
easy if you just rubber stamp everything with that and.
No,
call
it's very
people.
easy if you call, you get on the telephone during normal office hours
People
and call
look
the
for
person
everything.
responsible.
You just
Email
have-
them and tell them to email it to you
have
back.
No background and gut and
Can we
experience. in
please?
this.
It's a circus.
It's on there at least. If you're gonna do it, at least journalize it.
We're journalising the
Commissioners.
position changes. Doesn't
Commissioners.
matter who's in there and who will be there in the future. These are gonna be the.
Correct. I would
the
like,
Position.
Commissioners, I would like to show you what was attached for the record. I hope everybody can see this on the camera. A cost analysis was attached. Each employee's name was attached. Where they're going, which pay grade they started at to where they're going is attached. Again, not my problem. This was emailed to you.
It's not on the agenda.
But it'll be,
If it's
it will
first-
be with the record when it's journalized. What are we not understanding? If anybody comes to request for a public records request for this journal item, it will be filed with your staff on file. They can pull it and see anything they want. Again, the job classifications are changing. That's very important because that will stay from here going forward, not pursuant to who's in that job, but that job classification.
Do you not understand that that the
Okay.
names of individuals and their pay needs to be journalized?
That's what you say. That's what you say. That's your opinion. One opinion. We're changing the classification of the job, not of the employee.
So no.
We're not
employees
picking
get-
out people and saying, well, this guy gets one and he doesn't. It's the classification of the position.
Moving forward with everybody in that
So no-
position.
Right, so the employees who are currently filling them are not getting any pay increases? Are they?
They are. They're in that position.
They are, but their names aren't listed. It needs to be on the agenda.
Says who?
That's your opinion.
If
I
that's,
disagree.
if that's the case, then the revised, I mean, Bill, you can't say anything to this because when we hire people, change pays, we always put it on the agenda. This is the first time since I've been here that I've seen this happen without a name associated with a
Not true.
pay increase. It is.
I don't
Not
think
true.
that's
First time
true
since I've
either.
been here. First time.
Not
in
true.
2.5 years. Okay. Okay.
Let's call the vote, please.
I need,
Where, can I please,
I need her
when
vote.
did this happen before? When did it happen before?
Call the vote, please. Call the vote, please.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Suspension.
Mr. Malloy.
Okay,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
no,
Item number 30 is to approve all county departments and employees to partake in the viewing of the solar eclipse during its path of totality, which is approximately 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. on Monday, April 8th, 2024. During said time, all county departments and employees will pause all non-essential activities and duties from 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. to observe the solar eclipse, then resume their normal work duties immediately thereafter. Elected officials and department heads will coordinate staffing rotations and coverage needed during the eclipse for essential employees.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
discussion, who sent this over? Cause I don't have. Again, in my file, all I have is the cover sheet and we need to get whoever's printing these to. put the
Commissioner,
attachments.
You have made numerous motions from the floor without giving
This was
any
before. This was
information.
Last Tuesday's workshop.
No, but
We-
she has.
Last Tuesday's workshop is when this came about.
But what I'm telling you is you've made many motions from the floor where I understand that, but it doesn't matter if it's a motion from the floor or not. It can be put on by any
So
commissioner.
who put this on?
I did.
You just, Denny just decided that.
No, Mauro and I talked about it and the commissioner and the at the
the
workshop
workshop.
last Tuesday. And we discussed whatever other department wanted to do. We discussed it with the Auditor Yoder, or what her plan was. And the consensus would be to shut the county down from 3 to 3:30. And then since then, I talked to CCAO. 30 counties in the state of Ohio are either shutting down for the whole day or shutting down at some point. Most of them are shutting down at noon and sending their employees home. Ashtabula County is shutting down from 2:30 to the end of the day.
So nothing that you say.
Yep, it's all right there.
Because I come to work and I work. So commissioners, for the record, Alex Steven Jonesy Bush, Human Resources Director. This is what happens when you come to work, when you call CCAO, when you call other HR entities. Here's 69 counties for you out of the 88 that we have. That's all that I could get for you at this time, but I think 69 is pretty sufficient. You will see here that 27 are permanently closed for the entire day and the reasoning why. And then that is how we used quantifiable data, not conclusions in our head, but quantifiable data to actually get to consensus on how we run this county, and we run it efficiently and properly. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Well said.
And after seeing that, I got half a mind to shut the county down for that day, just like the other ones are.
I think you should. Go ahead.
We can have a discussion on this. We want to have a discussion, Commissioner?
Sure, that's fine.
Ashtabula is shutting down to 2:30 for the whole remainder of the day. Most of the counties that are in the line of full eclipse, I think there's 30 counties, 31 totality. They are shutting down for the day. Let's see this. Let's look at it and see.
Wow, that's really low.
Green is, they're getting paid by the county, and yellow is, they are
Staying open with no,
Getting this now? Are you guys just getting this now?
No, I'm looking to see
I
what's
never got
on
them, no.
here pertinent.
Oh, you guys you got it just now, Mauro? Okay.
I can't read it.
Good luck reading that. Yeah, this is not, you can't read this. Yeah, this can't be read.
It could be read. What county, which one can't you read? I could read them all.
Set of glasses.
I still can't see it. This can't be. Is this like a 4-point font? Because I can't read it. I'm sorry, I have old eyes.
Cuyahoga is closed for the full day. Crawford's closed for the full day. Dark County, Defiance, Clark County, full day. Champaign County, full day. Allen County, full day. Ashtabula, partial day. Lorraine, full day. Lucas, full day. Madison, full day. Marion, Medina, full day. Miami, full day.
Are the ones that are closing in the full day have their minutes associated with their passive totality?
Yes, they did commission on the third. Yes.
You can't see this, so.
Commissioners, there are some notes in the box that if the commissioners did do it via their commissioners resolution in the matter, you'll see that there. Most of them, of course, did commissioners resolutions for the matter. Closure due to the solar eclipse was signed on January 18th, 2024. This has been going on for quite some time. They've been preparing for this. Other counties have.
That's not to say that some of these other counties are
Correct.
not gonna pass resolutions.
Sure.
Most of
Well-
them are treating it like a snow day in a vote, and that's what they told me on the phone.
A calamity
Like a
day.
snow day, it's been approved to do that.
I would say, as you'll see here, there's either holiday pay being given, admin pay, and this is directly from their counties. So like I said, this is quantifiable data here. Some of them use the word calamity day, which I would think was what you're considering a snow day. A lot of offices are closing at 12:30, 2:30, whatever the case may be. Whatever you guys choose to do, that's your decision as a board. But yes, to answer your question, these were done at commissioners' meetings. That is correct.
I think initially, we came up with the half-hour closure. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I know the auditor's office is talking about an hour. Is that correct? Auditor Yoder? Okay,
Commissioner Malloy, that Commissioner, I'm sorry. Commissioner Malloy, that Commissioner Trumbull, 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 that Commissioner Trumbull
Sorry. Like your shirt.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. We were just going to go in line with whatever you guys did. We had initially said, I think that we were gonna do an hour, like from 3 to 4. And then, when we were at the workshop last week, you guys were talking about 3 to 3:30. And I pretty much, after talking to my deputies, thought that we would just kind of, comply with whatever you did. When we were talking last night to Commissioner Kozlowski from Ashtabula, I don't think they're closing down for the day at 2:30. I think it's 2:30 to 3:30, and then they were going to stay open for the last hour.
Okay. Did you say you can't believe what he says? I'm fine with it.
I'm gonna amend my motion though, that I have on here.
Two
I would like for us to shut down at 2:30, not reopen for the day.
for the entire day.
Let their employees go spend time with their families. Kids are getting out of school. It's a historic event. Even government agencies are shutting down. The president will be on the White House lawn. I think this is something that is a day we'll never see again in our lifetime for most of us in this room. And if all these other counties are doing it, if we're in the totality line, we're in the inside of that band. Some people are going to want to go to good viewing areas. I don't know the downtown area is going to be the best place to do that. And people be separated from their kids. We have had 2 traffic accidents right here in front of our building in the last couple of months. So people filing into the streets, things like that, I don't think is a good idea. So I would like to say we shut down at 2:30 for that day and let the employees go home and enjoy the event with their families.
It's gonna be terrible at 2:30.
When is it?
I
When is it? When is the time that it's going to be?
3:10 to 3:18, according to John Hickey.
Okay.
3:09 to 3:18 is the prime.
Beth Carmichael, Trumbull County Tourism. 3:10 to 3:18, sorry, here, I'll speak here. 3:10 to 3:18 is totality. So what you have to keep in mind is the moon's gonna be going in front of the sun for about a total of, I wanna say 3 hours. So totality is at like 3:15, but you've got the sun coming over, and covering the sun. The moon coming over and covering the sun. So if you choose to do this, I would say you might want to do it just before totality starts. If that makes sense.
3 o'clock or?
I would say like 2. I'd have to look and see what time the
We're talking about
moon's
the
starting.
traffic. I'm sure people will be.
There's gonna
driving
be,
around.
yes.
Well, then if it's
yeah,
totalities at 3:18, then traffic at 4:30 would be horrible too, because it'd still be dark.
Right. And so again, I've been saying everything is weather dependent, but as was pointed out to me just a few minutes ago, you do have staff that will be out on the roads checking water lines and
Oh, yeah,
doing,
essential
and
stuff, yeah.
ODOT has decided that they're for 2 days now are not going to be doing any road construction. So like for us, we're office staff. It's a little bit easier for us to step outside and see it, but you've got staff that'll be on the roads on top of the traffic that may be coming in during that time. So that's something else that you may want to consider.
Alexander, do you see any problems if you can, with like 911 or something with their employees? If we let the rest of the county go at 2:30 and the regular staffing there has to work during that time for essential services, would we see any issues there, union contract wise or overtime situations?
No, but I do think if you're going to do that, you want to make sure in your motion that you say this is for all non-essential employees. That's going to be very key there because we do have a lot of employees who are considered essential. Where we learned that was through COVID. So technically, CSB was considered essential workers, JFS was considered essential workers, CSEA was considered essential workers. Obviously, any type of police force, sheriff, fire, any of those people are technically considered essential workers. There's a difference between first responders and essential workers, but essential workers would need, I mean, if a child needs removed from a home, we can't say, I'm sorry, we're watching the eclipse. If so yes, there are essential workers. That's baked in there. I think when I read it, it said that this is about essential versus non-essential workers. It is what it is. It's part of the jobs that we take on. So
180 or up to.
it's dependent on their years of service.
Yeah, and the unions
So-
have, what, 180?
It is all dependent on years of service. So if you're here 5 years or below, you get 80. If it's 5 years to 7 years, it's 120. So it's a ranking system based off how many years you've been here. The only thing that's the same across the board is sick time at 4.6 accrued per pay.
Right, if we called it like a snow day, like a lot of the counties are saying, treat it like a snow day.
Sure.
Does that affect anything if for the essential workers that have to be here if they work on a snow day?
They would
compared
still
to
work on a
this?
snow day. Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
The other communities get an hour paid lunch.
That has nothing to do with this.
No, I'm asking.
Call CCA.
Yeah,
they'll
I
tell
mean,
you.
Okay.
When I talk to other counties, it's not atypical whatsoever that they get hour paid lunches, even a half hour. It's dependent on their contracts again and what they've negotiated. So sometimes you can't fit, a circle or a square in a circle. You have to look at everything for what it is quantifiably.
Auditor Yoder, you have input?
Yes, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I just have a question as far as closing the offices, whatever time it is, whether it's 2 or 2:30, and we're closing the building. If employees want to stay and view the eclipse here in this area, is that permissible? Just because there are some people, I know I live a little bit further out. I have folks that live actually down in Canfield, things like that. I don't necessarily think they would want to be on the road until later. And as long as, I understand closing the offices and not having it open to the public, but making sure that our employees, if they choose to, can remain here.
So you're talking about closing the offices and not even people who might be taking getting their work done on their break as it relates to, you're talking about closing down the offices so that no one who has to do business with the county is permitted.
My intention was to close for a half hour. I've done that in the past for other things. But if it sounds like from these resolutions and what you're discussing, that you're talking about closing the building to the public for that time. And if that is the case, I just want to make sure that it's all right for my employees to remain here should they choose so. I know I would, my initial thought, because actually where I live, it's a better view. But my initial thought was to do a half a day, but I didn't think that was fair to my employees.
I'm just
So-
thinking how essential is that last hour from 3:30 to 4:30 when people come
Well-
in, they just got done seeing the eclipse. It's still going on outside. The world's
I
out there
can't,
probably
know,
watching. How many people are going to rush
This
in
is
the
sort
city?
of unprecedented, so I can't necessarily say. I do say things kind of slow down, except with the exception of the attorneys, things like that. Obviously, if people have noticed that something is going to be closed, just like we do for a holiday, it works out.
Are the
Uh,
courts closing down?
That's up to the
Yes.
judges. They're elected
Yes.
officials. to
As
make
far
their
as
own
I know, I
There
know
are-
the Court of Appeals was gonna shut.
They're
down.
just gonna.
There
they're
are
just
some
gonna
courts, I can
continue
say just
their
in
cases?
anecdotally from what I've heard from my auditors association, we kind of did an informal sort of poll within our list. And one of the things was, there were quite a few courts within because they would list that whether because a lot of times our auditors across the county or across the state are actually located in courthouses. So that if their courthouse is closed, then they're closed. So that's why it's come up. So yeah, there are courts closing. I mean, just
Too bad. I mean, because imagine if you had a hearing and had to change it.
You can blame God for giving us an eclipse. I mean, things happen. This is a lifetime
I was
event.
just gonna say, for
Historic
most
event.
people, this is once in a lifetime. I lived in a different state when I was a small child, so it's my second one, but it's the first one that I'll remember as an adult. But, for most people, it is a once in a lifetime. This is not, oh, well, it's something small. This is a big deal.
And I know a lot of the school districts are closed, so you got parents at home, their kids are gonna be home from school wanting to see it, and maybe unsupervised, maybe not.
Schools are closing.
A lot of them are, yes.
Half day.
In Trumbull County, schools have closed? Which
Yeah.
one?
Not all of them. Some have decided to close, some of them have decided half day or early release. Because they're concerned about kids being on buses after the eclipse.
The traffic, yeah.
Well, I guess you'd have to make it so if you were to close, it would have to be around 2:30 because when you
It
talk
sounds
about
like
3 o'clock.
may even be a little late. That's 2 hours. Like I said, I feel for the people that are essential people, the 911 workers, the deputies, the people that got to work through it no matter what.
Well, they do that
I mean,
no matter what
we would
happens.
ask that they we would ask that they be spelled so they can all go out and enjoy it and see it, that their supervisors will plan accordingly, that they'll maybe rotate people in 911 where they let so many people go outside at a time, come in and cover the desks while that happens. We would hope that every employer in the county would do that for their employees.
Do we know from the chamber if the businesses are closing down too? You're very close with the chamber.
There's a lot of business or community oriented events. We have people traveling to Trumbull County from outside the state to view this thing. I know the whole Lake Erie shoreline from Geneva all the way across to Huron have activities going on there, family activities and viewing sites. This is a bigger deal than we're talking about right here in this room. That's why we're spending so much money with Beth. That's why John Hickey's been on conference calls throughout the week with this thing with other EMA directors too, because they don't know about the safety aspects of things too. There's concern there safety wise when you have a big event like that of terrorist activities and everything else occurring when people are distracted from their normal routines. So this is something that we have to think of safety a little bit, but at the same time, we have to think about being good stewards and this being a community. And no way am I going to say, well, guess what? I'm a commissioner. I can make my own hours. I'm going to go out and watch it. But you sit there and do that title, or you sit there and do that search. If they could wait a little bit, or the public would understand. And what public in their right mind is going to come in at 3:15 into a county building for some type of service when that's going on outside?
Okay, well, anyone is permitted to take off work at any time. Everyone has vacation days, they have personal days, and they have the ability.
So only the people with the most seniority will be allowed to do that. The people with the low level employees going to have to sit there and eat it. That's not fair.
No one's saying that. I'm just saying that people have the ability to take off, to request vacation, you know, I don't know.
I don't know. This sheet here, the sheet here is pretty green. And this shows me there's a lot of counties that really care about their employees and want to have them be able to get off that day and have a day off.
Be able to get off that day. Okay.
So
Anyone can take off that day. All I'm saying is you can still take off that day with the vacation or comp time or.
sure, work in Trumbull County, you burn your vacation days. Work in any other county, they'll let you go and they care about their employees.
Okay, at the end of the day in Trumbull County, people can get comp time earned by eating meatballs at the meatball eating contest at the Italian festival, because that's what happened last year.
Hey, that's a community thing.
If you can earn comp time like that, you could take it when you want to. So I'm sure that the other communities don't do that, so.
The more you talk, Commissioner, the more I hear you punish the employees, the more I want to move this hour up earlier and earlier and earlier and say as a reward to them for having to put up with this.
Good.
Commissioner, what do you think, time frame wise?
I'm fine. I know we talked about an hour initially. I'm fine with an hour.
Before too, you
I'm
know,
fine
we
with
can
an hour.
plan where they're gonna be.
Just being shut down for the hour, or letting them go home at 2:30 and being done with it.
Day before too. I mean, seriously, consider it.
I'm still torn. I'm
Just
still
for
torn.
people to drive to, you know, a better place or spend the night somewhere if they had a whole day before to plan.
What do you mean the day before?
Day
You want
before.
to shut down the day before?
Day before
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah, that's right. Maybe Friday. Maybe Friday too. I was thinking.
Auditor Yoder, you initially proposed the hour. I think that was what,
Day.
well, at least in
You said it right there for a minute.
I remember we talked
Yeah.
about it in the workshop. I remember we talked about it in the workshop. I thought the hour was very, you know, sufficient and fair. And we're not closing down every service for the rest of the day.
Right. I do think the hour, 2:30 to 3:30, is fair. I had initially said 3 to 4, but
Yeah.
I think that the 2:30 to 3:30 makes,
I think that makes the most sense.
it has that hour left if if we do have business that needs to be attended to,
Right.
it can be done. And I think an hour makes sense, and
I do
it
too.
can give them a little bit of time. It's,
I think a half hour is not enough with that.
Right.
And an hour would be.
2:30, they're there a half hour before preparing for it. They watch it outside, or if they can't go anywhere, because then when it's done, or
Right.
the totality, they got to get back in the car and hurry up to get back by 3:30.
No, but we can do it here. That was my intention,
Right.
was just to go out parking lot. there's a lot of places here, we just go outside and do it. They don't have to go home. And if somebody feels the need that they need to be
Well,
with
then
their
they can
family,
take the rest
they
of the
can
time to
take,
go
they
home,
can take
you
a
know.
vacation,
Yeah.
time for that.
For going home, or they could take it altogether.
And I mean, I've looked actually at who is requested off. I don't have that many time on. I kind of have been reviewing that. We have we keep a calendar, and I don't have a lot of actual people taking the whole day off. The people that are really enthusiastic, a few of them are doing that. But I don't think it's a bad thing to let people see a once in a
what-
lifetime
I
event
agree. I
and have
agree.
the
And
time
that
to
hour,
see it
would-
and enjoy it.
I'm
That's
just wondering why make them rush back? 3:30 and we're done at 4:30. It's an hour. And how much productivity are we gonna get in that last hour?
Well, I think particularly for
We have some
my
department
office.
heads in here. I'd like to hear from a little bit, just a show of hands, Gary, your input on what you think your employees would do.
I told you what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Gary?
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioners, based on what the other counties are doing there, I requested, we get a half day off, let them off at 12:30. You let people off at 2:30, they're gonna jump out, they're gonna be stuck in traffic in the dark here. By the time they get to where they want to be with their kids or with their family or the other people they want to watch it with. I don't think it would be completely, off kilter to, let the people take a half day like we do on New Year's Eve and let them leave at 12:30 and, that way they can plan around it, have plenty of time to get where they're going to safely, get stuck on the road in the dark. The essential employees, yes, they're gonna have to work. If I got a water break or something like that, we gotta fix that, even if it's dark outside.
Extra pay if
So-
they have to work during it?
No.
Well, they don't during a snow day, as she
No.
said, so that's precedent.
All right, but that's my thoughts on it. We don't want people out there rushing around and getting in traffic accidents trying to get somewhere, to see this once in a lifetime event. Give them plenty of time to, get to where they want to be with the people they want to watch it with.
Beth, do we have any celebrations on any of the Packard Park or any place around here that are county sponsored or anything you're sponsoring?
The closest event for Warren is going to be at Harding at Mollenkopf Stadium. The library, the city of Warren, and the school district is doing a viewing event at the stadium. They will have 12 different tables that have hands-on experiences. There'll be piping music. The Trumbull Historical Society is going to speak about the last eclipse that happened in 1806. So that's going to be the closest to this area. We have many. I mean, we just saw Graceville is having a community event. Newton Falls, Kinsman, Portland, Mosquito Lake, a lot of Eastwood Mall, the resort. There's a lot that are coming online that we're just now finding out.
And I think I'd like to use I'd like to amend my motion. I'm gonna amend my motion before we do that.
Too much discussion.
All right. I'm gonna amend my motion to say that we suspend activities that day, close the county down at 12:30 PM to allow employees to be able to go home, spend the day with their families, get involved in community events in hopes they will go to Mollenkopf, they'll go to the fairgrounds, they'll go to places with a good viewing site, and we make this a good community day, a good community gesture for all of our employees to share this as a community together with that. And that's my motion.
I think that's a little much, in my opinion. I think maybe 2 o'clock I'd go for. We can negotiate. 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock for the rest of the day.
How about 1:30 to keep it even?
Can you please run the meeting?
That died without lack of a second, that motion.
So.
So do you want to amend the motion, Commissioner?
On the floor.
I,
For the original, there's a.
For the original, it died for lack of a second. Oh, no, the original, we haven't adjusted. it. The modified died for lack of a second.
Correct.
The 12:30 modified. Is there a counter motion?
the 12:30, I propose 2 o'clock.
Motion.
Another motion.
I propose 2 o'clock for the rest of the day.
I would
I think
second that.
Thank you.
So someone needs to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that the county, get this wording right. Make a motion to approve all county departments, employees, except for essential employees, partake in the viewing of the solar eclipse during its path totality, and close all offices from 2 o'clock for the rest of the day until 4:30 on Monday, April 8th, 2024. That's my motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
Are you going to
Mr.
discuss?
Cantala Mesa,
Wait, payment as well, like, this doesn't say, okay, well, whatever, go ahead.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Be paid for a full day as a snow day,
And
correct?
Commissioner, I like that we negotiated together and came to a
Mr.
conclusion.
Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
No,
Okay,
Okay, and I'd also ask with that the department heads with essential employees, please show respect to your employees, rotate them through outside, especially like 911 center and COs in the jail if they can, so that everyone gets to experience it. We don't want any employee out there to feel discriminated against because they had a boss who didn't care and didn't let them go outside and see it or whatever, if we can avoid it. So we would ask that. Okay, that concludes our regularly scheduled stuff. Do we have anything from the commissioners first?
nothing on my end.
Do we have anything from the floor for the good of Trumbull County?
Good morning, afternoon, Commissioners. Beth Carmichael, Trumbull County Tourism. I take a little bit of time each year to share with you guys our annual report that tracks the return on investment we make with our lodging tax dollars and our new 2024 visitors guide. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
You got the annual report.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm here with Nick Lehner. He is one of our marketing managers. He's at the Ohio Travel and Tourism Leadership Academy. And so I thought this would be a good experience for him to come and talk with me a little bit about what we're doing. We were excited to see a 10% increase in visitors in Trumbull County this year. We are, a lot of people don't know, and some of you have heard me say this, but some people just don't think that we have visitors that come to Trumbull County. They think Disney, they think New York City, but we have an economic impact. This industry has an economic impact of over $842 million. That's in direct spending, which is over 400 million, indirect spending and induced spending. It also represents over 7,000 jobs here in Trumbull County. The most affected industries, and I should say positively impacted industries, are actually restaurants and shopping are the two most important impacted industries. And the visitor orientations or originations are coming from Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. A lot of people think, well, we really don't have that many visitors, but you can talk to the National Packard Museum, the Medici Museum of Art. You can talk to, of course, the Grand Resort. But what we always forget is that our visiting friends and family are also our visitors to the community. So in the past year or so, we have taken a little bit of our marketing dollars and started talking about what we have to offer here in Trumbull County to our residents. So when somebody is calling and saying, hey, I'm going to come visit you, mom and dad know all the cool things too that there are to see and do here in Trumbull County. So that's just some of the things that we've been working on. In our annual report, it gives you performance analytics. We measure that based on different benchmarks, industry benchmarks. Usually they're related to the same size budget that we have. We look at that nationally as well. So when we're talking about how we're spending our money, we're spending a higher percentage than most visitors bureaus are size on marketing, and we're spending less on our personnel and our admin. So that was a really good result for us this past year. So any questions that you might have for us? Nick, it does our digital advertising. So he's the one that's looking at the computer and doing our Google ads, our Bing ads. He pulls out our research. He's the one that checks our performance on a lot of things. He does our social media ads as well, so, and our video, some of
I
our
I
video
just gotta
work.
say that the photography in here is second to none.
Oh,
It's
thank
just
you.
amazing.
We work,
Everybody's seen these.
we work hard
ads.
at that.
They're amazing.
You can see actually this year in that map, I just saw Commissioner Cantala Mesa. We added a map that we're doing a tear off map for Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is a National Historic District. And so we've done a walking tour. It's been something I wanted to do for about 4 years. It's taken us a lot of time to get to that point, but we are going to have some tear off maps for that, along with our Millionaires Row walking tour here as well.
And I want to say thank you for adding the QR codes. That was
You
one of
are
the things I
welcome.
wanted to see since the
You're
very
welcome.
first.
Thank you. We did do some research on those QR codes, and we've used them in several different places.
They're-
They haven't been used as much as we'd like, but you know what? It's fine. And it's still a way for us to track the people that are looking at our ads and our visitors guides and all those other things. Yes.
It the people who are, or those who are members are, the QR codes are up at those locations to let them know everything else to do.
No, they aren't, but we're going to be handing these out on Friday. That's our Good Friday
Okay.
adventure, is we're going to be passing out our visitors guides to all of our locations here. Other questions about anything?
I just guess while you're saying that, the next 2 to 3 weeks are some of the best fishing times on Mosquito Lake.
Yes.
So we will have an influx of people from outside the county over the next 3 weeks, fishing the shoreline, wading the shore. The walleye nets were somewhat successful, but the one thing they found this year was the walleye spawned earlier than planned. So the state didn't get as much of the eggs as they had hoped, but they're going to supplement them from other lakes. But the number of big fish that they caught, fish over 6 pounds, was unbelievable this year. So there are a lot of big walleye in the lake. The hatch the last couple of years has been good based on the smaller fish they had in the nets. So you'll see an influx of people, and we ask that, treat them with respect, welcome them to our county, and we hope that they clean up after them when they leave, because usually by mid-April, the causeway is destroyed, and that's something where we'll be looking to the courts and volunteer groups to help us clean up after everybody's here in the next month.
And a lot of people don't realize the asset that we have with Mosquito Lake. It contributed $33 million in economic impact. And so those people that are visiting are shopping in Cortland and going to Champion, and they are spending money in our community as well. So we have to remember that. It's a really important economic engine for us. Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Beth.
Oh, I think it's. Oh, I'm sorry.
I handed out mine to somebody else, but that's okay. Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I have, because we didn't have a workshop yesterday. I did have some updates for you and some questions. Before I get to that, I wanted to address the folks that came about the bidding process for the Marks Tower. I think we needed to have some clarification so folks understand that. The ARPA grant is not for the actual tower. The Department of Administrative Services is paying for that tower. So the bidding process is through them, through the state, and not through our county. The Trumbull County ARPA funds are being utilized for the radio equipment and the shelter. You signed an agreement to that. Well, and a resolution was approved for that agreement with DAS. April 5th of 2023, you signed that agreement, or two of you did, on 5/23/23. So the bidding process is theirs. Our part of the tower, the Trumbull County ARPA funds are for the Motorola, or the equipment, the radio equipment, which is Motorola, and also the shelter. And the shelter is through a company called Thermobond. Both of those are sole source as required by DAS. So there's no bidding at all on that project. So I just wanted to clarify it. Those folks really need their argument. It's for, to use a colloquialism, it's not our circus, not our monkeys. Those folks need to talk to DAS. With regard to the update, I can get that for you. I don't have it right now, but I can certainly do that. I can give you, I can send that to you. I'll email it to you.
That someone has, I requested the communication related to this because I was trying to find out who the contact was there and I haven't received it.
Okay, I'll be glad to do
I
that.
know that Ashley Spence has contacted the office too. And for those of you that don't know, the procurement of the tower, what we were talking about, came up last week. The question of whether or not there was some bidding irregularities in there came up. And we didn't handle the bidding portion of that. That was the state. So that's
Right,
what,
and we're not paying for it.
we're not paying for it.
Right,
If
it's.
there was
the
any
only thing
irregularity.
We are paying for, and we
Which
call
I'm not
that,
saying there was.
we call it a Marks Tower project. We're not actually paying for the tower. The deal with this, the request was not made for the tower itself. It's made for the radio equipment
Right.
and the shelter that goes with it.
That was the joint agreement we had with.
Right,
with the state.
correct. That's what you signed last night. All right, on the update portion, approvals and updates, we received approval for Warren Civic Music and Johnson Fire Department Ambulance. My question for you is actually, I have a single question, but then I also want to ask some clarification on Warren Civic Music. First of all, do you want both of those on the agenda for next week? I kind of
Yes.
made that assumption. I have not reviewed those, but I will and make sure that if we have any errors, they'll be corrected with Attorney Rogers. Warren Civic Music, when we sent that on, they had initially asked for 10, then they asked for 25. And then when we sent it on, I believe that it was done in a workshop. We kind of settled, split the difference kind of thing and said 15. Is that still your wish to have that? So the resolution is 15. All right.
I gotta take a point.
Go ahead.
All right. The other thing that she currently has 4 requests pending: the Levittsburg Train Station Gallery, the Kyler Foundation, which is the Colberg Lake Dam Study, Mesopotamia Township resubmittal. I guess it's a little more than that. I don't know where I did. I guess it's more. Sorry. Liberty Township Park renovations, Veterans Outreach, and the Warren Township, which is the Johnson Community Center, Kinsman Park, and Johnson Park. I don't know. I think I had a typo from last week. Sorry. Bristol Township withdrew their park request, which had been on there, and submitted a request for an ambulance at 175. Just to note that, they had 160,000 that was frozen for them from that denied request. And so the withdrawn park request was 16,1. So they're still at less than what they had initially requested altogether, just a little bit less, like 1,100. My question for you is where to put this, and I kind of maybe have to wait for Commissioner Malloy to come back, but where to put it in line. The date for the park request was 9/18/22. And the denied request for the building was dated February 3rd, 23. So both of these are actually before the date of the next request on our list.
Okay, so my concern is, and I hope that the other commissioners will recognize this, that we've got some requests that relate to work that's being done in parks and stormwater management. And that needs to take place more quickly because now is construction season. And I've already had some reach out related to those things. And I would like to see that the one that relates to, obviously the one for the dam is I'm sorry, is a priority because of a timeline. But then these other ones like Johnson, I want to say Liberty Township, they have the
Liberty's is the Liberty Township Park renovations. That's already with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the concern is making sure that these get back to us so that they can start. these
And
projects.
she's doing a better job at getting it back to us. But that's already there.
But Johnson, I just want to make sure that
Those are already with her.
I understand, but I'm asking that those be reiterated that we need to
Well,
make sure that
I,
they're.
I will be glad to do that, but
And
she,
here's the
as I
thing, are
said,
you,
she's already
those-
working a
are
little
those more
faster.
important than the Veterans Outreach Building with the new windows? And, you know, those are things that need to happen. All of them need to happen, Commissioner.
Talking about Liberty, Veterans Outreach, Kinsman and Johnson Park and the Claire Foundation. Those are.
Those are
ones
next
that-
on the queue.
I'm not asking for anything to be put ahead of those. I'm asking after those, when we start submitting more, where it goes. I'm not asking for it to go ahead. My question for you is, do you want it to be, it would be, if I put it next, when I say next, it'll be after the ones that she currently has. So if you look at the spreadsheet, after the yellow is where it would be. Is that where we want to do it?
No, I'm looking at these park ones. I think that I believe that we need to get these park ones done.
All right,
first.
well,
And even Hartford Township Park is on here.
All right.
These are not too, the Kinsman Playground. Anything that is a outdoor related where there's going to be construction outside, I think we need to get moving on these because of the month that it is right now and these communities needs.
80% of them have, the 90% maybe outside.
Especially, storm where you see. That is my preference is to make sure that the ones that are, townships and such that have outdoor activities and stormwater, that those ones be submitted next, because the other ones can be done at any time of the year, and we have to consider the construction time as well.
But these are in order when they submitted them, right?
correct.
I
At
say
this
we leave them in
point,
the order where they are right now. I don't see anything that jumps up that says it needs addressed immediately right now.
and Commissioner Malloy, I just want to, the question that I had that I posed is that number 2 on your sheet, when you were out, I talked about Bristol Township submitting, they took the money that was frozen and they also took the park request and withdrew it. And they submitted a request for an ambulance. If we go by what you're saying, they would be first after the yellow because those dates are both the dates of both requests are before the date of the next request on the
And I
list.
would say yes, because right now they're buying ambulances, and if they could buy them bulk, as we asked the chiefs to get together,
That would be
we'll
helpful.
try to
yeah.
do in a group, then maybe we
I'm
get a
not
better
sure
deal,
that's
but
gonna
Bristol
happen,
going
but
in,
yeah,
they're
that would
champion.
be. Commissioner Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
yes on that. All right. So I will put that in next then. I was also forwarded an email from Newton Falls Joint Fire District regarding their UTV request that's current on the yes sheet. The request is for $25,026. It's currently at position number 14, well, now 15 because of putting the Bristol's on there, but it's currently at 15 of those that have not been sent to Attorney Rogers. His request is to be moved up in the line because of wildland fire season. Again, one of those issues that we're talking about. And that's the reason for their request. And so do you want me to move him or just leave it where it is?
I'm fine with leaving
Okay.
it.
The Eastgate has a request for $50,000 to help pay the salary for 2 years for a broadband coordinator for the region. Mahoning and Ashtabula have each committed to this amount. This was on the maybe sheet for the October meeting. My question for you, since I was asked to pass along this request, is do we want to move that request to the yes sheet? And if so, where in line would you want it?
I'd like to, in speaking with Jim Kinnick about it, he mentioned how important it is, and especially with the Lake to River backbone that we're doing with the broadband service going across county lines and all the stuff we want to do in the northern tier to make sure that they get high-speed access there. I think that's a viable position that we need to add and help add to. It's a $50,000 for that position.
Directly to someone's salary over.
Correct.
Correct.
It's to pay a salary for a broadband coordinator for 2 years. So Mahoning and Ashtabula have each committed 50,000.
Yes.
Coordinating broadband though.
What do you mean?
There's still going to be there's still going to be coordinating broadband regardless of if we're bumping something up to the top of the list and paying into this particular position. Still, there are still the broadband coordinators. We've still spent money on making sure that we're going to be included in that plan.
A full-time representative for that purpose,
Right.
to span the 3 counties.
Right. And we pay them for our membership as well. So I just.
As do the other counties, but they're chipping into this as well.
Right.
I'm in favor of it. And speaking to Mr. Kinnick, he mentioned that we can get moving on this rather quickly if we hire somebody. And
If you hire someone, they can get moving quickly. I've been here for. They're still working on it.
are you suggesting that we don't hire somebody then and then we just, who is it?
Okay, they're already working.
Who
on
is
it.
the person that's working on it? Commissioner?
Commissioner Malloy,
Is there somebody?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Eastgate has partnered, let me give everybody a refresher's course here. The
Everything.
If
The
you want me,
feasibility study that we conducted in Trumbull County was adopted by Eastgate and spread out through those 3 other counties. What we need is a point person. We need a point person for all these 3 counties when we talk about this lake to river backbone.
if you
And
would,
that's what this is going to go towards. All the 2 other counties are putting in for it.
if you would, like me to inquire about that with Mr. Kinnick to get more information from him.
I would.
I can do that. I'm
I
willing to
suggest
do that and I will,
reach out to them.
and we can address it in the workshop.
Yeah,
next
I would
week.
I'd like more information. When
That's
it's
fine.
starting is, did
Right.
someone already start? Did
Sure.
in January? We don't know that. That's when we're gonna ask and see.
I will,
Mr. Ragazine,
No, the one who's working on the broadband, he comes to our meetings before.
who's that?
I believe it's Mr. Kristen.
That's not, he's a consultant. He doesn't work for them.
They're
They're hiring a full-time person. Eastgate is.
consultants and they're hiring.
More research.
I will
over
be
this
glad
week.
to
If
do
you-
that.
If you
I'll be
don't
glad
think
to take care of
broadband
that.
access and broadband expansion in this county is important and deserves investment, then I don't know what to tell you.
Spent $1 million a year additionally towards these things by giving all of those organizations an extra $1 million and I don't understand why they can't use all of the funding that you 2 keep pouring into them for these things that they're ostensibly already doing.
So essentially, the other counties that are participating in this, that have this, are doing it incorrectly as well.
I'm just saying that the other.
Well, no, that's what you're
I
saying.
don't believe that Ashtabula contributed.
Yes, they have.
$500,000 or $1 million.
50,000.
Missing it.
No, she's talking about Valley Vision 2050 that she voted no on.
That has nothing to do with this.
Of course, they just.
Valley Vision has nothing to do with this.
Then asking for more and more, but they're already,
They're 2
Right.
separate entities. You're
Okay.
conflating 2 different issues.
already.
Commissioners, the last 2 things on the notes that I gave you are just Bloomfield replaced their request for an ambulance truck bays with an actual ambulance request. They moved from a building request to an ambulance request. The request is currently on the maybe sheet and the new request, if you want to look at it, is on the Commissioner's Drive. In your packet, I gave you the updated yes sheet, and then also there's a little bottom line mini spreadsheet so you know what's available. I'd like to move on to a couple of other things that I'd like to address. Just first one is just public information, so folks know. The deadline for the Board of Revision complaints is April 1st. Any Board of Revision complaint that's done in person or online must be received by 4:30 PM on April 1st. Any mailed submission must be postmarked by April 1st. If we receive a late complaint, it will be dismissed. And no new complaint can be filed until tax year 26, payable 27, and that's per ORC 5715.19A2. I just want to make sure folks understand that. The other thing that I need to address is an incident that occurred between Commissioner Frenchco and one of my IT employees last Friday. Ms. Frenchco, you had a complaint about that staff and called her directly and then verbally abused her. When you have complaints about my staff, you are to address myself or Deputy Auditor Hannaford, not my staff directly. And under no circumstances are you to verbally abuse any of my staff.
Staff, could they come and say, I did not, I have no idea. what-
Second, that staff who created the portal for the agenda items
Oh, geez.
has more talent in her tiny little finger than you could ever hope to have. It's not nasty, you said, and I quote, "Who made this shitty program?"
That's completely ridiculous. That's not true.
Recorded.
I repeat, my staff
Like-
over a person who has lied
I got it.
repeatedly to me and to everyone else.
Commissioner, this happened on Friday. The employee that this happened to was so distraught and devastated by the way she was being talked to. She called county HR. I'm talking. Is it my 2 minutes? Is it my 2 minutes?
Yes, it is.
The employee called county HR to come down and sit with her. And I don't know what happened for the first half of this.
She said that you were outside the door or something like that. No one, that's not true.
That is true.
Either she's lying or you're lying.
I'm not
I
lying.
believe that you're lying.
Nope, I have it. Nope, there's cameras and there's cameras in all these halls, Commissioner. You will watch me walk from my office down to her office because she was upset. So also the phone call was recorded. So I would tread lightly if I were you. Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to clarify while I'm up here, Commissioners, there was a lot of discussion back and forth about this eclipse, and I think it's great discussion, and I'm glad that you guys worked together to come to a resolution. Thank you for that. With that being said, I just want to make sure it's clear because I'm already having department heads and elected officials email me while I'm sitting back here, is it up to us to determine if we need people here or not? I think that's how you guys wrote it or read it, is that, it's up to each department to decide if they need people there or not. If they're able to close, they're able to close. Is that the understanding that I have here?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there was a lot of debate and I want to clear it up for everybody. So I understand, obviously 911's first responders are going to have to still be working, but there's other departments that can close down based off their business and operational needs.
Correct.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
As soon as that resolution is made, I'd like a copy of it.
Okay, another thing I'd like to bring up. I got a call from the president of the Fair Board. I did advise him, as we were advised, and talked to Bill at our last meeting last week. We are in contact with a couple of cell phone providers and internet providers to provide service at the fairgrounds this year. And our hopes are to have, at the very least, permanent internet out there the public will be able to use while they enjoy the fair. And the cell phone wise, we know we can get temporary towers with AT&T and Verizon. We hope that we'll be able to get our own tower out there in the fairgrounds property at some point. And we are, Eastgate is helping us with that. And actually, Mr. Christian is helping us with that to help broker a communication with the cell companies to make sure we have that service. I've had talks with a lady from AT&T and a gentleman from Verizon, and it sounds pretty promising. We will have that. And so fair growers won't experience the problems we had before. Another issue came up this weekend at the fair. The electrician was working out there. They were talking with their insurance about their camping area they have there where people camp. And they were notified that our telephone poles that hold the electrical boxes at the fair are only sunken in the ground 2 feet, and they're leaning, all of them. And they said, no way, no how are we going to allowed to have campers out there with the telephone poles the way they are, because they can fall and kill somebody. So I get a request, and there'll be one formally coming. I know he probably reached out to you, Mr. Hart, but we need to find somebody to sink the poles down in the ground professionally. These poles are put in the 70s, but they're only in 2 feet in the ground. They're tall telephone poles, and they're leaning all different directions. And we need to address that as a safety issue before the fair starts. We're dumping a lot of money into the fairgrounds and enhancing the fair. And this is something we can't overlook. A lot of people camp during the fair. There are other events where they utilize the camping, they utilize the power poles there. And this is something we can't just ignore. This, I think we need to create as a, although it's been that way since the seventies, the way they're leaning now with the insurance issue, we need to address this and somehow. So they said that they won't insure campers out there is what they told the fair board president.
Yeah. What about, what's our lease say?
As far as
Have you seen the lease?
what, in what aspect? What aspect are you getting at?
It's not the county's, whose property is it?
The Board of Commissioners owns the fairgrounds.
That's what I mean.
Owns
There's
owns it.
there's a lease, there's a lease. It's a 99-year lease and it is theirs. And I think that we need to look at everything to see if that, and I've said this since I started too, to make sure that things are done correctly. It actually, to the best of my memory, said that the Board of Commissioners is not responsible for the things there.
Until
We didn't
something
have to
happens
pave
on,
the
until
roadways,
something
we didn't
happens
have
on
to
our property.
work in cooperation with
I'm
them.
not disagreeing with doing anything because I've been spearheading a lot of the improvements there. But what I'm saying is we do need to revisit that. If we're going to start providing all of the maintenance and these other types of things, then we need to take a look at the lease between the Agricultural Society
Sure.
and the Board of Commissioners. No one has done.
Well, I'm sure we'll do that. As we get in this process, we'll do that. If they were dealing with their insurance and not ours,
Yes.
I'm sure they've got a
Right.
handle on it.
So, and their insurance, they are responsible for the improvements, I believe in the insurance as well. So if we're going to be making improvements, then we want to make sure that we have adequate insurance coverage there as well. Because we have no, so basically we're putting all this money into an area where we have no control or say over the limits of liability. Do you guys understand?
Okay, so you don't want to help them? You don't want to address it? Is that what
I
you're
don't think
saying?
you guys get it. We want.
I don't think you get it. It's a safety issue. We need to address it.
Make sure, because that our insurance is covered. So for example, boys, so over at the Board of Elections, that is our building. Okay, that is the Board of Commissioners. We don't lease it out. It is ours. We put all this money into the investments there, but we have the insurance on that. And so we know that our insurance covers the improvements that we've made. Take our minds over to the fair. That is not ours. And we don't know the insurance there. So if we are pouring into improvements at that area, we need to make sure that we're looking at those policies, looking at the lease to make sure that there's adequate coverage, to make sure that our investments at the fairgrounds are covered, just as if the Board of Elections are, because we don't have that. Does that do you guys understand?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have that? Do you have any of, have you?
Why do you gotta be a fun sponge? Everything we bring up today, you gotta look at the bad side of the coin. You gotta look at a way to criticize everything. I said, we have a safety issue at the fairgrounds. If that telephone pole falls on somebody, damn well, you know, the Board of Commissioners are gonna get sued too, as well as the,
No, they wouldn't get sued because
Okay.
it is done, the ownership over there, or because of the lease and the way it's structured, it is maybe Bill Danzo can explain.
you're throwing him on the spot for
I
on the spot thing he just said he doesn't want to do.
Unfortunate, but it's
He's grasping. Someone help me. Someone throw me a lifeline.
No, he's seen this, I believe, because I've seen it too, and we're not responsible for the insurance. I'm just, if you
Well,
understand what I'm trying to say,
we-
is to covering.
Commissioner Malloy hit this right off the bat, that this is a preliminary request. This is all going to be part of what gets looked at in the process of doing this. So,
Fine.
yeah, well.
But it should be, is what I'm saying. I'm
I guess
asserting
if
that
it comes, I mean, he just said it was gonna be part of it, and if it comes through us, it would be, I guess. That's all I can say. But what'll happen is that will be part of the review if this request comes through, to figure out whose responsibility is what. And I will say, my recollection when we dealt with the issue of having beer sales at the fair years ago, I believe Corsa was involved with that, because they do view it as a potential liability, if nothing else, for the county if something goes wrong, even though we've leased the property. They do view it as a potential liability issue for the Board of Commissioners in the county because it is ultimately owned by the county. Now, again, the scope of all that we'll explore. I've got no problem with that. You know, that's, like I said, I think that's going to be part of the process.
Investments are protected
Sure.
with insurance and. it's
Well, and that's,
very
that's,
unknown. Yeah.
that's the goal here, I think, is to make
And I
sure
would say
that,
when we lease them the property, we lease them the infrastructure too. The telephone poles, the power lines, the sewer lines.
Yeah.
That's all owned by us and leased to them.
it
but we
is.
still are the owners.
But they're responsible for improvements. That's how the lease.
And we'll, again, we'll explore the limits of all that. But I think it's also going to be important to contact our insurance provider to make sure also, because there may be issues that they see. And again, because they represent so many counties with county fairgrounds, county fairs, they're experienced with this too. That's all part of the process.
Yes, because we're going to be putting more into that property. So I just want to make sure that all of that, because no one has really looked at it since I got here.
Okay, well, when it comes through, I assume it'll come down for review. And if it does, we'll address it.
And the lease might need to be changed too, because that's very old.
Well, the lease,
Or-
the lease is pretty old, but again, the fairgrounds, that's something we can talk about. But again, there's sections of the revised code that deal with leases to fair boards. So, you know, it is
It's
an
not your
old lease,
typical
but
lease. you know.
presumably it was created years ago in accordance with the way it was supposed to be.
Got here related to their concerns over at the fairgrounds because the sheriff went ahead and started building and constructing and doing improvements to property with the go-ahead from the commissioners. And
And the okay of the fair
I
board.
wasn't here when that happened.
And the okay of the fair board.
there was nothing, absolutely nothing in writing. And so I think that people need to recognize and digest that if there's a lease, then the Board of Commissioners can't just say, go and build something there.
We
And
held
then-
public
and
hearings.
And then the Fair Board is now stuck with the maintenance and upkeep of things that they didn't have any control.
There
of
is no
happening
maintenance
there.
or upkeep. It's a firing range.
You know, like things like that. So.
There's no maintenance or upkeep.
Okay.
It's out away from everyone and we held public hearings on it.
It was done incorrectly.
Please.
It was done incorrectly.
Please
There
stop.
is no they were just told to do something. Actually, I might even have the
It's
email.
cooperation
Sheriff-
between departments. That's what we do. We try to get things done.
Said it was a gentleman's agreement, and there is no gentleman's agreement in real estate and in government. And so I know that you recognize that, and I trust that you'll be able to make sure that moving forward, things are done correctly.
Like I said, that's all we can do. The request comes through. We're happy to help. Thanks.
Anybody else have anything for the good of Trumbull County?
Brian Flanagan, Rich Rounds,
Richard Rounds, Vice President.
President of Local 2493. I just want to acknowledge and thank you, the commissioners that agreed upon agenda item 29. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the HR department and the sanitary engineers for working with us. This is a long time overdue for the CDL drivers that are in that department. So just thank you very much and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We just figured it'd help with the turnover rate. We can't get employees and working out this deal. The county's still saving money. So, you know, we figured we'd come together and it worked out really well. So we
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I agree. And I commend the sanitary engineer for the same thing. He was able to bump the pay up for CDL drivers so we can retain them hopefully, instead of just training them and then moving on to other agencies. But then at the same time, he combined two positions and there's a cost savings overall of everything of about $15,000 to the county by him doing that. And that's specifically what we asked our sanitary engineer to do a year ago when we combined some water districts, is find every which way you can cut to make sure that we don't have to raise rates. And this is one of the areas that are in the big picture gonna help out by us not having to go back to the well and dish out more money to provide a better service and hopefully make happier employees and retain and a better retention rate. So thank you, Gary, for doing that. Do we have anybody else? I guess last thing I gotta bring it up publicly is Commissioner, apparently you were here last night. The bathroom in there looks like a gardener was in there doing their gardening. The maintenance people came in and cleaned last night, and after they left, you did something with plants in there. There's potting soil. There's plant pieces everywhere. It's disgusting in there. And I don't know how you could have left last night to leave that for someone else to clean up after you. When you do something like that in a building, this isn't, you don't leave your lunch stuff laying around on the table. You don't leave your gardening for your office sitting there. And I would ask anybody in here that wants to walk in the bathroom and see it, including Ray, go take a look in the bathroom. She's the only one that uses the bathroom. And it's the second time you did that. We have pictures from the first time. It looks like a garden center. There's a sink there. You must have changed your soil or something. You left it everywhere in the bathroom. Like, I don't know. I would hope that you would clean that, and not leave it for our janitors to do it.
Could you please start cleaning the piss off the seat and putting the toilet seat down then?
I'm gonna use that bathroom.
Oh, it might be you. Okay, so if that's what we're doing is talking about the bathroom, can we please put the seat down and clean the urine?
We don't even go in there. That's your bathroom.
That's you. We don't touch that bathroom. I don't want to go anywhere in the same bathroom that you're in. So I would just ask you as a favor to not leave the janitorial service to clean up after you.
Please don't, leave the seat up and pee on it. That's gross. Thank you.
Again, we don't use that bathroom.
Anything on the phone lines, Tim? It's *6 if you want to unmute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Hi, I
Hello.
have a question. This is Valerie from Howland. I have a question about
turn it up a little, Tim?
non-essential employees. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. How much vacation time does a non-essential employee get a year?
Depends on the department and the job and how long they've been there. Years.
So for non-essential employees, is there like an hourly limit? I know some positions in other places require you to take 4 hours at a time, 8 hours at a time, or you could take an hour at a time. Why
They can
can't
take an
these
hour at a time.
why can't non-essential employees take vacation time for the solar eclipse? Why should we pay non-essential employees to go watch the eclipse? Some of them may not even care to go watch the eclipse. I have to take vacation time from my job if I want to go watch the eclipse.
I agree with you. They get between, I think, 108, what is it? She said it earlier, 40 to 80 to 180, sometimes 200 vacation hours. Depending on how long they've been there, 80 to 100, 200.
Well,
Right.
that's
So
the
these
same thing you're
people that-
saying is like, why are you letting the teachers not go to school on that day when the school's closed? Why are you not letting federal workers do it? I'm talking, hold on.
Question.
And I'm answering it. And what I'm saying here is, this is a unique event. We're not going to penalize the whole county that's going to want to do it.
Not a penalty.
But all these other counties are doing it with pay. Why would we be the only one?
It's
Why are we
not
going to discriminate against our employees here in Trumbull County?
Do you even know what discrimination is?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
So just because one county is doing it doesn't mean we have to follow suit and doesn't mean it's right. I mean, you got Howland that is taking the day off of school. Niles is doing early release. So you're saying that Niles is wrong and should have a full day off?
No, not at all.
Or are you saying that Howland is wrong and they should have just done an early release? The thing is that there's no reason we should be paying these non-essential county employees to take the time off to watch an eclipse. If they want to take the time off to watch the eclipse, then let them use their vacation time.
What did you say your name was, ma'am, for the record?
It's Valerie Johnson.
Valerie Johnson. Thank you.
Well, we respect your opinion, Valerie, but
I agree with you.
You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And I will definitely be voting against you next year. So you've done nothing but disrespect Ms. Frenchco. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of her
Oh my
either.
goodness.
I think all of you need to go, but you're wasting our money. Let people take vacation time if they want the day off.
Mm,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate your opinion, Valerie.
I don't appreciate yours. Thanks.
Haters are gonna hate. Star six?
Do you have Warren off?
Yeah.
Oh, they're reducing the
I
day.
could just be off the entire day. And just so you know, that at the ESC, they're supplying glasses for all their employees and all the students.
She has to come to the podium.
What's your name, ma'am? Where you from? So we can. Sue Hartman from where? Okay, Warren City. Thank you for the record.
Former Warren Council person, Sue Hartman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Star six, we have another caller. Go ahead and identify yourself, star six. That's it.
Hello,
Carl
Clemens
Oh, okay. Yes, sir,
Carl
Mr. Clemens from.
from Howland. I just got on the meeting. I was in another meeting, but I just wanted to, I don't know if everybody knew, but we lost one of our contractors that was very, very instrumental in picking up a lot of the slack. And Rembrandt Wright passed away last Wednesday. And I did talk tomorrow, and I just am hoping that everybody could have a moment of silence for him. And I'm not sure if it happened or not, but I just wanted to be part of that because I can say that he was instrumental in helping me with a lot of things in my avocation for transportation. And he will be very missed by me.
Carl, Morrow here. Yeah, we did at the beginning of the meeting, but you know, Rembrandt Wright was one of those people that from the very beginning, I think every commissioner had reached out to every commissioner, knew more about transportation, all sorts of transportation than just about anybody.
Good person.
That's
Very good
exactly right. And
person
he
and
was
will be missed.
very much a voice of reason, never bringing negative to the thing,
Never.
always trying to help. And we lost a very good person, and hopefully his kids and Garwin will keep the thing going for him and his wife. But I couldn't get to the meeting earlier, and I'm sorry I missed that. But for him as a friend and as a person that I respected with his transportation knowledge, I just figured I just had to say something for him.
Well, thank you, Carl. And I will say this, in my many conversations with Rembrandt, he always thought the world of you too, Carl, as an advocate and as a person.
We
So thank you.
we really work together, and if we can figure out how to do that, we might get some more things done. So thank you very much for your time, guys.
Is that good, Tim?
Anybody else?
Hello?
Go ahead. Name and where you're from.
This is Darlene.
Star six, please.
Let's make sure she can talk.
No, nothing there.
Nobody?
If not, make a motion to adjourn.
Is she trying to get back on?
Make a motion to
Second the
adjourn.
motion.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Maybe Darlene will call back.